Welcome. You are tuned into the 2020 Harlem Book Fair. This is Lynn Pender with Christian Authors on Tour, and I am so excited to be able to introduce you to another panel of Christian authors. Today's panel is Writing as a Tool for Christian Ministry, Part 2. You get an opportunity to hear from these authors, and I want to give you a little background. As Christian authors, we have a call on our lives to write for more than entertainment. The real-life testimonies, nonfiction, and the creative stories, parables, fiction we share in our books help introduce readers to biblical principles that help them lead Christ's full lives. And today is such an honor to be able to have the opportunity to interview for your pleasure 3 authors. We have Apostle Frank A. Willett, we have Veronica E. Berry, and we also have Megan Carner. And just want to give you the opportunity to hear more about these 3 dynamic authors.
My name is Apostle Frank A. Willett. I live in Baltimore County, Maryland. The name of my book is The Hourglass. Is this the last hour? It's an end-time ministry book that's written in 2 volumes, one for the student and one for the instructor. It took me a year to write this book. This is my 2nd and 3rd book. I was inspired by one of my students who gave me a prophetic word that I should videotape these, and I prayed and came up with writing the books, putting these lessons in print. I type all of my lessons and teach them and send them out via email. I've got over 300 lessons, and I was able to compile them and put them together in book form.
My name is Veronica Berry. I'm from Sanford, Florida, and the title of my book is Malaya, Job's Wife. It is inspirational fiction. It is based on the life of Job and a special emphasis on his wife, Malaya. I was inspired to write the book while I was studying the book of Job, and a question entered my mind that I just could not get rid of, and that was, what about Job's wife? And I answered my own question immediately, and I said, who cares? But the question would not leave me, because yes, she said, curse God and die. But why did she say that? So I started thinking about this woman. She had a God-fearing husband. They were very, very rich. They had a great life. They had servants and friends and family, and they had 10 children. I know she was a proud mother. But something happened. Tragedy came, and all of it was taken away. The physical part, the houses, the land, they could get more of. But you can't bring back 10 children. And I thought about a friend of mine who lost 1. She was feeling very devastated. It's just tragic. But this woman lost 10. So she had 10 devastations at one time. The motherly part of me, the motherly compassion kicked in. And I said, I want to investigate. I want to research. I want to find out why she said what she said. And it was worth my time.
My name is Megan Carner. I am here in Northern Virginia, and I am the creator behind CRAM Christian Resources, as well as the author of the Christian Resource and Academic Manual. The Christian Resource and Academic Manual is a Christian children's educational workbook series. And at CRAM, what we do is basically we exist to help children reach their highest God-given potential. And we do this through unique educational materials. So what we do is we take the academic piece that kids are already learning at their age group, and then we seamlessly integrate biblical principles and Christian values in order to sort of create a holistic educational experience. The Christian Resource and Academic Manual, while it is structured as a workbook series, there's 4 parts to it: math, life science, social science, and language arts. It also functions as a resource tool and a study guide. So it's very helpful for parents, homeschool parents, religious schools, and things like that.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. Can you just tell us a little bit about what you hope readers will gain by reading your book.
I hope readers will gain a deeper insight into the scriptures. The scriptures are very, very descriptive, but you will have to study to show yourself approved. I'm always trying to share a nugget that you don't know, that something, give you something that you've never seen before, or to get you to look at it from a different view. Therefore, I had this book written with two different Bibles in mind, the King James Version and the New Living Translation. These versions are very, very descriptive. They are very, very informative. And they give the reader a vast amount of information.
I really want readers to gain from my book that God loves everyone and that he reigns on the just and he reigns on the unjust. And that's the reason why he said in John 3:16, for God so loved the world. Those people who we think are good and those people who we think are bad. Sometimes words come out of our mouths that do not truly reflect what comes out of our heart because of the devastation, because of heartache and pain. And for example, Malaya in my story, that is exactly what she went through. And as she was going through a shattered heart and in such pain, she said things she should not have said. And yet I know that God looks beyond our words many times and he sees our heart. And I want people to know that he is a forgiving God. And just like he's a forgiving God, we should be for forgiving people. And he will show us how to deal with people who have done us wrong. And he will show us how to forgive in the right way. And that, yes, they will have to have consequences for what they've said or done. And yet he still loves them.
What I hope readers will gain from CRAM is that when you look at traditional academic environments, they tend to focus on a child's reaction to their environment, which is to say, well, they tend to focus on their behavior, which is just another way of saying their reaction. And in my opinion, I think that structure, it limits the potential of what the child can become, because their, what it does is it expands, their possibilities expand no further than the extent to their environment. At CRAM, our workbook series, we tend to focus on a child's conduct. So therefore, we're focusing on the proactive side, the character formation, changed behavior. That's really what we're all about at CRAM. And conduct and character formation is influenced by beliefs, morals, faith, and that's basically the principles undergirding what the CRAM, the Christian Resource and Academic Manual Workbook Series is all about. So that's probably the nutshell of what I want readers to gain from CRAM.
All right. Wow. This is so rich and it's so exciting because, you know, whoever is watching, they see the diversity in you as Christian authors. We have a Christian nonfiction author, we have a Christian fiction, inspirational fiction author, and we have a children's book author, but you're all writing for that same purpose and you're using it as a tool for Christian ministry. This is awesome. So I have a question for you. What pearls of wisdom could you share with an aspiring writer?
Well, one of the first things that I would like to share with an aspiring writer is do your research. You spend more time researching your material than you go writing. Research. Now, the reason I stress research, the deeper you delve into your subject matter, the more you're going to find. So you're going to have to compile your material to make sure that you get enough to keep the reader interested, as I like to say, to whet his or her appetite, to make them want to just not put the book down, but to continue to the next chapter. That's number one. Number two, make sure you stick to the scriptures. Understand the scriptures that you're reading. Understand the material that you're using. And number three, use the vast number of tools that are available to you. There are any number of tools that you can use to get your book written.
I just have to say I totally agree with Apostle because research is very important. And I also have a belief. I believe that Everyone really has a story to tell, whether it is a how-to book or a novel or life experiences. And if in your heart you believe God is asking you to write a book, go for it. Do it. Make it happen. You may not feel confident, but God will connect you with the people that you need to help you turn it into something beautiful or even miraculous. He will give you experts on editing, on grammar, on sentence structure. He will give you what you need to accomplish the dream, desire, the goal that he put in your heart and you are longing so much to do. So start typing, start recording, and just get it down. Tell your story.
Sometimes I feel like one of those aspiring writers because I've only been doing it for a little bit, but I would have to say passion. Passion is what fuels me. Passion to, I always say this, that what we teach children or what we fail to teach them for that matter is what they take into the world. It's what their contribution to society will be. So the passion in order to impact their lives, to go out and be just sustainable, functioning, good-hearted, moral individuals is where I start. And I started with children. So passion is really the big thing for me.
All right. I want you to talk also, we're wrapping up, but I just want you to give me a brief answer on why it's so important to use writing as a tool for Christian ministry.
I find it so important because it's educational. My people perish for lack of knowledge. If we can put it in book form where they can understand it, we can make it as plain as a child can understand, we can learn something. From the oldest to the youngest, we have a variety of authors here that have a variety of platforms to write. The Bible is the greatest book that's ever been written and ever read. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible to inform you what God wants you to do.
I want my tool to be simple so that no matter if a person has a college degree or if that person did not finish high school, that person can read my book and still be ministered to. It is a tool that hopefully will draw them closer to Christ, draw them closer to forgiveness, draw them closer to understanding the love of God and confession of sin. So no matter what I write about, I want to make sure I include this as a tool to draw Christians closer to Jesus.
Why use writing as a tool? The written word lasts. You know, I mean, you look at what we're all basing our writings off of, the Bible. The written word is here and it's here forever and it's here long after we're gone. And I think for me, that's the biggest thing. And that's probably the biggest influence because it will always be here.
Wow, I want to thank each and every one of you for being part of this panel discussion today. This was just amazing. And for our viewing audience, I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to remind you that each of these authors will be on tour with Christian Authors on Tour in 2021. So I want to encourage you to visit the website, www.christianauthorsontour.com. You also, please be sure to stay tuned. Once this is over, you will be able to see the contact information for each of these authors. And if you aren't able to get it there, you can also go to the website, www.christianauthorsontour.com. We're so excited and honored that you were able to share with us today. And we're excited to be part of the 2020 Virtual Harlem Book Fair. What a historic moment. And until next time, Apostle Willette, everybody, thank you so much. Take care.
Are you a Christian author on fire for God and committed to using writing as a tool for Christian ministry? If so, you should consider joining Christian Authors on Tour. Give us a call, 800-929-1418.
Turner Ministries, and if you like that, that's an original composition. It's called Elohim. Listen, you can give us a call at 1-410-302-2737. That's 1-410-302-2737, or go to our website at www.stephenturnerministries.com. Yeah. Hi, I'm Pastor Steve, Music Man Turner, and I'm a proud member of the Christian Authors on Tour, and I'm grateful to be here at the Harlem Book Fair, and I'm grateful for them allowing me to be here. And so I want to talk about the book that I am actually author of. It's called The Other Pulpit, Life Lessons of a Leader, and it actually chronicles the true story of history here in Baltimore, Black history, I want to say that. And so in 1946, young pastor Bishop Winfield Amos Showell of the First Apostolic Faith Institutional Church wanted to do something to promote God in the community and in the city, and he was led to do something radical, and that was to go to the studios of WANN Annapolis, in the segregated Annapolis, to actually start a radio ministry, something unheard of. And he wanted to have a combination for 1-2 punch. He wanted a choir that would sing before him before he began to preach. And so what he did was he went to my aunt and asked her if she could actually help, because helping was a part of the ministry of our family, the Turner family. That's how the church got started, with Bishop Turpin going to my great aunt, asking to use, and she volunteered her living room to get the church started. And so when they came to my grandmother and asked her would my mother be able to help, she said she volunteered. Yes, she can. And that's not what she wanted to do, because she had other plans to work with the caravans, which have tried to recruit her. She could sing, good God Almighty. And so at age 15, she went and got her family, made up of singers, and formed the radio chorus. And they sang for 46 years, traveling across the USA, traveling as far and going and even singing at Carnegie Hall. And so it's very important. I began to be on the choir and sang for 14 years, and I began to play for the choir for the last 7 years. That's really what this book is about, talking about our battles when she's trying to make a leader, battles when she's trying to make a pastor, our battles when she's trying to put wisdom into me and trying to get me to do and conform. I didn't want to do it. And so we go through the history of the book. She met Martin Luther King, as we talk about that, the 1968 riots. I remember those. And so these are historical things that have happened and occurred. We'll get into some of our lessons. There are 11 lessons that you can use for business, personal, commercial, private, church. Doesn't matter. It'll help you. Life lessons. And so this book is about 46 pages of pure power. And sure you can handle it. And so my point is that in lesson number 9 is called the Strap Sermon. Oh, it sounds just like it means strap sermon. That means I was doing something I had no business doing, and Mama had to correct me. And she did it it sounded like she was a preacher. I didn't know she went to seminary, because I've never seen anything like that. But that's how it sounded to me as she was developing my rear guard, as they say. And so lesson number 10 actually talks about the benefits of being in church and the benefits of following what God is saying to do. And so I just had to do and learn these lessons, learn to be persistently humble, which is lesson number 3, where that just because you have a title, just because you have some gifts, doesn't mean that you have arrived. And it just means that you should be humble. Because when I was learning classical music, someone took the sheet of music away from me and I couldn't play a thing. So I had to learn that I wasn't all that. And so God has to learn and help you to keep you humble, and that's important to do. So the book is historic. It's of great value, and it's something that's just will give you lots of laughter, lots of humor, unexpected humor. So I would advise you to read it at work. It might get you in trouble. You need to read this book at the fireplace, read it at a campsite, read it at a convocation, read it in a hotel room. Just enjoy it. Share it with some other folks, because it's a book that's very relevant. It's got a lot of history in it, and it may surprise you of all the joy and the life and legacy of leadership. I never knew that my mother was so iconic until later in life, and so I'm the product of her investment. And as you can see, and as you'll read, in the end, God won out, and she also won out, because she gave me back to God. And that's what this book is really all about. And so it also talks about, which is the main impetus, about the other pulpit of wherever you are. That is where God is using you. That is your pulpit. And so, and I guess the other underlying question, or backdrop, is the lessons of and the life of looking at my father from a distance, not being able to embrace him openly because he belonged to someone else. And so this question is asked, does God use spiritual biohazard waste, where folks think that because you are illegitimate from another relationship and not from the first family, that you have no purpose? I'm here to tell you that you have purpose, you have goals. God will still use you, and he will manufacture some greatness in you. And that's what this book is all about. And you can't put it down once you pick it up, because it has a lot of nuggets in it for wisdom, and that's important. Lots of historical value, and this is a book that should actually be in your shelf, should be in your collection item, should be in your library, and I encourage you to get it today. And so when we think of Black history and Black culture and Black literature, we want to also think of the other pulpit, life lessons of a leader. We want to think about that and give that some great credence and preference today. And I really appreciate this opportunity to be here. And I've been playing music for about 53 years. And I started at age 4, and I started in classical music. And so now I'm in gospel, and that's where I aim to stay. And so I want to encourage you to get this book. Go to www.stephenturnerministries.com, www.stephenturnerministries.com, or www.jnfenterprises.com. If you can't wait, call me at 1-410-302-2737. And that's important. Looking forward to that call. Looking forward to talking to you.
you a Christian author on fire for God and committed to using writing as a tool for Christian ministry? If so, you should consider joining Christian Authors on Tour. Give us a call, 800-929-1418.